In ancient times in Yunnan province, there lived a magical songbird called the nugello with the sweetest singing voice. The people loved listening to it, but none more than a beautiful village maiden who would become lovesick if she skipped even a day of it. Every morning she would go into the forest and lose herself in the song of the nugello. She cherished its memory, and she began to sing like Nugello had sung of the joys and sorrows of her people. I grew up in Hong Kong. My parents were expatriate American Chinese living in Hong Kong. And just like you growing up in the US, you hear about Cinderella, you hear about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Well, we heard about Chang'e, we heard about Xi. These are people from Chinese history and Chinese mythology. So when I started painting as a career in Honolulu, there was no one representing the Chinese culture over there. And so I started painting that. It became more interesting than just a pretty picture. It had depth, it had meaning, and in a way, people were learning about the Chinese culture through my paintings. These stories have been handed down by word of mouth through thousands of years. As long as the Chinese civilization has been in existence. And because they're handed down by word of mouth, you'll find different endings or different versions of the same story, which is really interesting. Guan Yin is the goddess of mercy. She's the epitome of beauty and benevolence. She's said to travel from heaven to earth on the back of the mighty dragon. She's also the patron saint of sailors. When sailors get into a fierce storm at sea, they pray to Guan Yin to save them, and she's seen riding through the waves on the back of the mighty dragon to their rescue. I take my inspiration from stories that I read, and I do research into the legends and the history. And as I'm reading the story, an image will pop into my mind, and that is what I paint. I work in watercolor, acrylic, and gouache. I actually mix all the three mediums together, anything that's watercolor, and basically I water all the paints down till it's a light wash, and I put down multiple layers of light washes to build up the intensity of the color and put in the shading. I work on silk mostly. It's Japanese silk that's been pre-treated so it doesn't bleed. And the silks take a long time to do. For instance, in the faces and the skin tones, that takes anywhere between 18 to 22 layers of washes. For a large painting, if it's a woman, it generally takes me anywhere between 2 to 3 months to do, and that's working 6 days a week, between 8 to 10 hours a day. As I'm painting it, I'm always thinking about the story, trying to get the mood of the story into the painting. Every color I put down affects what color I'm going to put next. And so sometimes what I think I'm going to end up with is not what I end up with, but it's something better. I hope that when someone sees my work, they will enjoy the story behind it, appreciate it for much more than just a pretty picture, and understand the culture that's behind it.